The Classic TV channel is your happy trails to golden oldies television from the 1940s through the formative years of the 1950s and 60s. Enjoy restored TV shows Mickey Rooney Show, Groucho Marx, Trouble with Father, Terry and the Pirates, One Step Beyond, Beverly Hillbillies, Bonanza, The Lucy Show, Dick Van Dyke, Annie Oakley, Ozzie and Harriet, The Howdy Doody Show, and many, many more. Binge your night away. So return with us now to those golden days of yesteryear.
A public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in the court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients. Some of our cases are easy to wrap up. Investigation gives us a clear-cut answer. I thought this case was one of those. You'll see how wrong I was. In the course of his daily work, the public defender often finds himself in strange and unexpected places. This particular case took me to a roaring steel mill, where men work hard under great pressure. Here we meet all kinds. The hard worker, the sensitive guy, the bully. All with the same passions and conflicting desires that we find everywhere else. But here the struggle is more intense. This is a naked and physical world. Strong men will not be poured into a mold like molten metal. And as if the work and the heat have a direct effect upon them, their emotions sometimes explode suddenly, violently.
Hiya, Bill. Lay off, musclehead. That burns me up. Can't take it, huh?
He did it! Did you see him? He tried to kill me! He did it!
I didn't release that high lift, Mr. Matthews.
That isn't what Pete Corey told the police. He said he saw you near it seconds before it happened.
He's wrong. He's wrong. I wasn't near it.
Now, the charge is attempted murder, Eddie. You're in a tough spot.
I know. But I had nothing to do with Pete getting hurt.
He said that you two had an argument the same day.
That didn't amount to much.
What was it about?
He was picking on me, and I didn't like it.
He said you had a fist fight in the yard.
It was just a couple of punches.
How tall are you, Eddie?
I'm 5'7".
What do you weigh, about 140?
143. Why?
Well, Pete Corey is over 6 feet. Must weigh about 200 pounds. Couldn't have been much of a fight, a David and a Goliath.
I wasn't afraid of him.
Neither was David, but he had a pretty important reason for fighting. Now, what was your reason, Eddie?
He was picking on me, that's all.
I'm your attorney, Eddie. I'll have to have more than that to go on. Now, the police say that you were beaten up by Corey, that you wanted to get even, and you tried to kill him.
Well, it's not true. I didn't have anything to do with it. You know, having a fight with a guy is one thing, but trying to kill him is something else. I tell you, it was an accident that lift hitting him.
All right, Eddie. I'll see what I can do. I liked Eddie. He seemed like a nice kid. But he didn't give me much to work with. I had to get corroborative testimony. Joe Harris?
Yeah.
I'm Matthews, Public Defender's Office.
Oh. Oh, you're the guy that's Eddie Fraser's lawyer.
That's right, Joe. I'd like to ask you a few questions. Did Eddie ever get into any trouble before?
Not that I know of. Everybody likes Eddie. He's a good guy.
And what about Pete Corey?
He's a jerk.
Why?
A muscle boy himself, always pushing people around, a plain jerk. Eddie had nothing to do with releasing that lift.
How can you be so sure?
I saw the whole thing. Pete was walking down the ramp there, and the lift was parked at the head of the ramp. Somehow it started to roll down. And Eddie was standing, about here, a good 10 feet away.
Well, could he possibly have gotten over to the lift and released it?
Well, it's impossible. He was standing here the whole time.
And you'll swear to that?
Why not? It's the truth. That's Brody. He's running the lift now like he was then.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks very much. Now, if Eddie couldn't have released the lift and you didn't, how do you account for the fact it rolled down the ramp?
Well, something must have happened.
The mechanics checked it and it was in perfect working order.
The mechanics, 100 things could have gone wrong. How can they say what could have happened? I'm telling you, the whole thing was just an accident.
Did it ever happen before?
No, but that don't mean it won't happen again. Believe me, mister, guys used to walk in front of that lift all the time. They don't anymore.
Thanks for your cooperation.
Oh, Mr. Matthews, get Eddie off soon, will you? The guys around here want him to show up for his wedding.
I didn't know he was going to be married.
Jane Bronson up in the accounting office, swell girl. We arranged a party for them on the 15th.
Well, I'll do the best I can.
Thanks.
I understand the boys are giving you a big party.
They've been awfully sweet about everything. Everybody likes Eddie.
They're pretty fond of you, too. Tell me, Miss Bronson, do you know Pete Corey?
Yes, I do.
How well do you know him?
Nothing serious, just a couple of dates.
Do you think their fight in the yard had anything to do with you?
I don't know, Mr. Matthews. I don't know. Pete was possessive, domineering. That's why we broke up. They might have fought. Pete was just that way. He tried to settle everything with his fists.
And what about Eddie Fraser?
Eddie's not that type of a man. He's warm, understanding. I love him.
In the interest of justice, I discussed the case with the district attorney a couple of days later. I believe that the statements of the witnesses for Eddie Fraser were conclusive. And after studying the file, he agreed that there was a lack of evidence of criminal intent. The case against Eddie Fraser was dismissed. Hello, Eddie. I didn't think I'd see you around here anymore.
Just wanted to thank you for everything you've done for me.
Oh, you're welcome, Eddie. You know, our clients aren't usually this appreciative. They leave here as fast as they can and never look back. Lots of luck, Eddie.
Thanks.
Well, relax. You're free. The boys at the plant will be glad to see you, and so will Jane.
Yeah, I know. I know. Those guys are real friends. Jane is wonderful.
Oh, she's a lovely girl, Eddie. And I know you two will be very happy. I'm invited to the wedding, you know, and it'll have to be something awfully important to keep me away.
Well, it wouldn't be right if you went there.
Well, so long, Eddie. I'll see you, huh? Yes? Oh, the petitions are being filled out now. They should be ready this afternoon. Yeah, fine. Goodbye.
Mr. Matthews?
I thought you had gone, Eddie.
I can't go back. I can't.
What's the matter, Eddie?
It isn't right for my friends to act as judge and jury. I can't let them.
What are you trying to say, Eddie?
I released the brake on that lift. I tried to kill Pete Corey.
Do you realize what you're saying?
I've been sitting in jail thinking about it. Knowing my friends were trying to protect me. I couldn't sleep. You see, they were trying to save me, Mr. Matthews. They thought he deserved it, but it's not right for them to act as judge and jury. Well, how could I go back? You see, they all knew except Jane. How could I marry her with this in my conscience? Boy, a guy's got to live with his conscience.
Sit down, Eddie. Do you realize what you've done? Through your statements, you and your friends have perpetrated a fraud on the court.
I know. I know. I shouldn't have let them. I should have told you the truth. I want to face a judge. I want to tell him that I'm guilty. I want to pay for what I've done.
Well, the courts can always refile in a case like this. Suppose you tell me what really happened, Eddie.
Well, promise me that they won't get hurt. You see, they lied because they liked me. They wanted to help me. Promise me that they won't get into any trouble.
I'll do what I can. Now tell me what happened.
Well, it all started when I went to work at the plant.
Eddie was ambitious. He wanted to learn everything there was to know. When he started at the plant, he was in the clerical department, but got interested in steel and went to night school and took up some courses. He learned about reverberatory furnaces, the rolling mills, the various types of steel, and his studies paid off. Eddie became a tester. It was he who examined the metal before shipment. It was a responsible position.
Hold it, Eddie. I'll give you a hand.
Thanks, Joe.
What's the matter, boys? Having trouble?
We don't need you, muscle boy. If we can't do it, we gotta lift that can.
You don't need lifts with me around. You know, I don't know how you guys get along without me.
You know, a lift can do anything you can do without bragging. You're a jerk.
Take it easy, Pete.
Guy's asking for it.
Oh, it's not worth fighting about. Forget it.
Sure. He's got too much lip. Need anything else?
No, I'm okay.
You know, for a little guy, you're all right, Eddie.
Thanks.
Say, I got an idea. You know Jane. She's got a girlfriend looking for a date. How about you, huh? We'll make it a foursome tomorrow night.
No,
Well, nothing. I'll let you know.
Pete's offer for friendship came as a surprise to Eddie. Pete was a lone wolf given to bragging. He was disliked by most of the people who worked in the plant.
You got a date for tomorrow night, kid. I told Jane to pick somebody your size.
Okay, I'll take a chance.
You ain't taking any chances when Jane picks them. If yours is half as cute as Jane, you got a doll.
Good.
Hey, fellas, Musclehead's got a girl. Since when are you interested in anybody beside yourself?
I got news for you guys. I'm not only interested, I'm gonna marry you. See you later, Eddie.
I pity Jane. She's a good kid.
Ah, Pete's not so bad.
You'll learn.
How do you like it, Jane?
The music might not be good, but it's loud. I like it, Pete. They're just a couple of old squares.
Yeah? Yeah, I guess I am. My dancing's pretty rusty.
You may not be very fancy, but reliable. Eddie, haven't I seen you at night school?
Yeah? Yeah, I go 4 nights a week. I've seen you there, too. What are you taking?
Literature.
Mr. Williams?
You know him.
Yeah, I had him for English last year. He's all right.
Gee, you must be strong. Your muscles are like a rock. What are you studying now?
Chemistry, mostly.
You should have been a fighter.
Yeah, sure.
What kind of chemistry?
Well, it's the composition of steel alloys. It's complicated stuff, those chemical equation.
That's how I feel about Shakespeare. I can't figure him out either.
Hey, look, we're supposed to be having fun, huh? You two will be doing your homework next. Come on, let's dance.
Oh, let's wait until
Come on.
after dinner.
Hey, you and Eddie are getting along real good.
He's awfully nice, Pete.
Don't like him too much, baby. Hey, watch where you're going, wise guy.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
That's what you got eyes for, mister. I'd to pin your ears back.
Well, you don't have to get so tough about it.
Who's gonna stop me? You?
Pete, please. There's no need to fight about it.
Oh, well, this guy thinks he's tough. Maybe I ought to teach him a thing or two.
Pete, don't. Not again.
You're a smart guy, aren't you?
You haven't danced with me yet, Pete.
Where'd Jane go?
She'll be back. Come on, this is my favorite song.
I'm sorry that happened.
It seems to be happening to Pete more and more. He's becoming... You know what I mean.
Well, Pete's not a bad guy. He's got that quick temper.
Too quick. You're different. You're not like fellas like Pete.
Well, I'm trying to be different. I don't want to be a tester all my life. I want to be sort of an important guy someday.
And you will be.
Thank you. You know, you're different, too. In fact, you're kind of special. It's pretty out there, isn't it? Those lights.
It's beautiful.
You know, sometimes you see things, lots of things, but you don't really see them. And all of a sudden, you see it for the first time, and it's really wonderful.
Yes. It is. Isn't it?
Hey. What'd you run away for? What have you two been talking about?
We were just, looking out there at those lights.
They're so pretty.
What's so pretty? Just lights. We've seen them before. Look, I'm hungry and the grub's on the table. Let's eat, huh?
Eddie fell in love with Jane that night. He knew nothing could come of it. Jane was Pete's girl. Pete was going to marry her.
Hi, Pete.
I thought you two were up to something last night out on the balcony. And that gag about the pretty lights.
What are you talking about?
Look, lay off, kid. I'm warning you.
Quit it, Pete.
Jane's mine, see, and you're not cutting in, understand? Keep away from her.
Eddie, come in.
Just want to see you for a minute.
What is it, Eddie?
It's about Pete.
What about him?
He has the idea. Well, I like you, Jane. But Pete says that it's more than that. He says that you and I, well, that it's more than that.
I told him this morning that I didn't want to see him again. Pete was right in one way. It took you to make me realize that it wouldn't work.
Me?
You said it the other night, Eddie. You see things many times without really seeing them. But I refused to see him the way he really was until I met you.
Jane.
I like you, Eddie. I more than like you.
Jane, I want you to know how I feel.
We got some things to talk about.
There's nothing to talk about, Pete.
Oh, yeah? Him again. Get out of here, punk.
You better go, Eddie. Call me tomorrow.
I told him this morning and I meant it. He's not going to crawl around here anymore. You're my girl and I'm going to marry you.
You're hurting me.
Everything was fine around here until that guy came in. They'll be fine again.
Pete, it was all in your mind about marriage. I never considered it seriously. I tried to explain that to you.
We're going to be married.
No.
Oh, you can't be interested in that little squirt. He isn't even a man.
Muscles don't make the man, Pete. Eddie's a fine person.
It'll never be him. I won't let you. He's a nothing, you understand?
Please.
If you ever see him again, I'll tear him apart. Remember that. I'll kill him.
For the next week, Eddie tried to see Jane. Jane avoided him. She said she was busy. She was working overtime. Jane's excuses were endless, and Eddie couldn't understand it.
Jane.
Eddie. I've got to go in.
Jane, I want to know why you won't see me.
I've been busy.
Busy doing what?
I'd rather not talk about it.
Jane, we both know it. We love each other.
Oh, Eddie.
Honey. Honey, tell me, what's the matter?
Oh, Eddie, let's go away. There are other places to work.
Why? I've got a good job. I've got a future here.
I want us to be together. I want us to get married. Pete said he'd kill you if I ever saw you again. If we went away, he wouldn't know. He'd let us alone.
No, I'm not afraid of Pete. Look, he's got to understand that we love each other. I'm going to see him and tell him.
Eddie, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what he'll do to you.
Look, we can't start out together by being afraid. We've got each other. What do we have to be afraid of? I'm going to settle it all tomorrow.
Eddie didn't pay much attention to his work that morning. He had to talk to Pete. He wanted to get it over with.
I was wondering why Jane wouldn't see me. I found out last night.
Thought I told you to stay away.
Your threats don't scare me. You're not keeping us apart, you understand?
Look, be a smart guy, kid. If you want to live, leave her alone.
You can't settle this with your fist, Pete. We love each other, and Jane doesn't want you around. Okay, muscle man, I'm not afraid.
You're asking for it, little man.
Bring her, fellas.
Oh, no, between us.
Yeah, between us. Come on.
Take it easy, Pete. You'll kill him.
I'll just mess him up a little.
All right, you had it, kid. Quit.
You see Jane again, and I'll really give it to you.
Jane and I loved each other, Mr. Matthews. We couldn't start our life together by running away. Every time I saw Pete, it pretty near drove me crazy. Then that day, all of a sudden, I felt I had to do something. I was crazy, Mr. Matthews. I'm sorry I did it. I'm sorry I hurt him now. I want to pay for what I did.
Eddie Fraser pled guilty to aggravated assault. But because of his confession and the other extenuating circumstances, the court was lenient. He received probation and was sent to the county jail for 6 months. He's back working now. And it was Pete Corey who had to leave town. I think Eddie's and Jane's wedding was the best I ever went to. The case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender. A public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in a court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients. In horse racing, just as in all sports, there's an axiom: they never come back. Johnny Hatton was an ex-champ who tried to break the jinx.
Around the left turn is Mystic Star on the rail and Cash Register head and head. Limehouse is beginning to move on the outside. In the stretch is Mystic Star and Cash Register. Cash Register and Mystic Star. And here comes Limehouse on the outside. Uh-oh, there appears to be trouble between Johnny Hatton on Mystic Star and Eddie Barrows on Cash Register. Eddie Barrows is down.
15,000 witnesses had seen Johnny Hatton quirt rival jockey Eddie Barrows from the saddle. The latter was rushed to the hospital. Hatton was booked on a charge of assault with a deadly weapon. As he was without funds, his case was assigned to the public defender.
Well, Johnny?
It's no use denying it. I hated his guts. But I didn't start the fight.
But the films of the race showed that you quirted him from the saddle.
Yeah, but he hit me first. Ask some of the other jockeys. One of them must have seen it.
The DA already checked. He has a witness who heard you threaten Eddie before the race. Did you?
Oh, I was pretty sore. I said a lot of things I didn't mean. You gotta believe that.
I can't help until I know the whole story, Johnny.
All right, Mr. Matthews, I'll level with you. You see, in this racket, you're only as good as your last race. And, well, I hadn't had a winner in months. And then last winter, I had that spill at Santa Anita.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, that got me to thinking, maybe I'd better get out while I was still in one piece. So, my wife and I opened a restaurant near the track. Johnny Hatton's Turf Club. Didn't last very long. $30,000 down the drain in 6 months. I ought to have my head examined for getting us in this mess.
Oh, don't talk like that, darling. We just got on a long shot and it didn't pay off, that's all.
Bet on the wrong jockey, you mean? Well, I had no more chance of bringing home a winner in a racket like this than a bartender in a Kentucky Derby.
Exactly how do we stand?
Well, I've held out enough cash for a month or two, but we still owe $4,000.
Oh, Johnny, no.
Well, look, honey, don't worry. I never stiffed anybody in my life, and I'm sure not going to start now. Honey, look, I tell you, there's nothing to worry about. Well, I could make that much in one afternoon in a good stake race. Connie, baby, look. There's just no other way. I got to make a comeback.
Is that what you really want?
Well, sure, baby. It'll be a cinch. I've kept in good shape, and I'd like to be riding again in a week. And, honey, this time we're going all the way to the top.
Oh, John, if you only knew how long I've waited to hear you say that.
Johnny Hatton began his comeback a week later. Always a colorful rider, his return gave the local sports columnists a full day.
Hey, get a load of this by Parker in the graphic. Johnny Hatton will probably wet down the fire of his former protege, Eddie Barrows, who has been burning up the local turf of late, despite 3 set-downs for rough riding. Eddie will be in against his former mentor today, and the old maestro is still man enough to cut him down to schoolboy size. Hey, this guy's pretty good, huh?
That thing.
Keep acting like that, and Johnny's liable to keep you in after class.
Well, maybe it's about time somebody gave a few new lessons to the teacher. Forget it, Eddie. It's just some sports writer trying to fill space. It's been a long time between races.
Yeah, we missed you. Like an also ran.
Johnny, don't let him get you down. Why, you were booting home long shots before he even knew which end of the horse came first.
Is that what they told you when I was coming up?
Well, it ain't exactly the same, Johnny. You see, I waited a little bit too long for my comeback. But you've got a lot of good years left.
Yeah, sure. If I get by the first race.
Oh, you can't miss, Johnny. Remember this?
It's the one you carried in the Derby in 37.
Mm-hmm. But you see, after I won, I promised myself I'd never use it again until something as big as a Derby came along. Well, for me, it never came, Johnny. Now it's your turn.
Well, it's just about time. Gonna wish me luck, honey?
You don't have to ask for that.
This is it, baby. If I can win this one, I'm set for next month's fraternity.
What do you mean, if you win?
Is this a private party? Or can an old friend break in?
Well, hi, Eddie. Gee, it's good to see you again.
Hi, Connie. Just like old times, isn't it? Still back up now?
Haven't I always?
You know, that's what I like about you, honey. Always make sure you don't finish out of the money, even if you have to change horses in the middle of the race.
The horses are almost in position. We might get a break at any moment now. They're off and running. At the start, it's McGrew breaking on top. Marta's Pal is second. Tugboat is third. Jason's Trick is next. Robber Baron and Swords Play.
Come on, Johnny boy. Come on, boy.
Oh, you can do it, Johnny. You know you can.
Get out of my way, Maestro! Move over, you crazy fool!
It's McGrew out front by a length. Tugboat second. Marta's Pal and Jason's Trick. It's McGrew and Marta's... Tugboat is down.
Hi, Johnny. How you doing?
What are you doing here?
It wasn't my idea. Connie thought you could use a little pep talk.
Connie?
Take it easy. I just dropped by the apartment to see if there was anything I could do.
Anything you could do? Well, that stunt you pulled out there today could have killed us both.
No, it couldn't, Johnny. There wasn't any chance of me getting hurt.
You know all the answers, don't you, Eddie? Including every dirty trick in the book.
Well, I should. You taught me.
Sure I taught you because you were nothing but a green punk.
You bet I was. Thinking what a great guy you were, helping me to get a break. And all the while you were making time with Connie behind my back.
Listen, you got no claims on her.
I'm not blaming her. You were riding high then. Big car, big reputation, plenty of dough. Should have been a fool to turn you down.
Get out of here, Eddie. Go on, get out.
Don't let it get you, Johnny. You can always make another comeback.
In his heart, Johnny Hatton knew there was no choice but to resume his ill-starred career. But he kept postponing the inevitable decision.
Oh, thank you, Connie. So here's Whitey out on a limb. Here's Jamie Girl ready to go on the stakes Saturday, and Whitey still hasn't got a rider.
Well, that figures. Not even a glue factory would claim that nag.
Oh, that's not fair. You haven't even seen the horse.
No, but I've read the form sheets, and that's enough for me.
All right. So she hasn't shown very much. But Whitey's been bringing her along nice and easy like. And now, Johnny, she's ready to go all the way.
Not with me, she isn't.
But why, Johnny? Even if you don't win, you'd be riding again. You'd prove to everyone you're all over your last spill.
She's right, Johnny. You know, everybody's beginning to wonder.
Look, I said I didn't want the job, and that's final. Now, why don't you get out of here and leave me alone?
I'm sorry, Connie. I was just trying to help.
He didn't mean it, Louie. He's been jumpy all week.
I know. And it's not easy to come back after a tough spill. But he'll snap out of it.
Bye, Louie.
Goodbye, Connie, and don't worry.
How could you do it, Johnny? He's the best friend we've ever had.
All right, but that doesn't give him the right to stick his nose in my business.
By trying to get you a job? If that's interfering, we could use a lot more of it. Or haven't you taken a good look at your wallet lately?
Oh, cut it out, Connie. I'll get some dough someplace.
By opening up another restaurant? Or maybe you'd rather have me borrow another $200 from Eddie.
Eddie? Oh, Connie, you didn't.
Well, one of us had to do something. I couldn't just sit around the house without any money while you kept making excuses not to ride.
No, I guess not.
Where are you going?
To the track.
Johnny Hatton was signed for the maiden stakes on the strength of his past reputation. He knew his entire future would depend on the way he handled the filly when the chips were down.
What kind of an outfit am I riding for? Do they call that a rig?
Now, take it easy, Johnny. It's just another horse race.
Yeah, remember, you're in the outside post position. Stay with the bunch till the turn and try to cut in then.
All right. I know you told me 20 times. Now leave me alone.
All right, son. Jamie girl is all yours. But don't forget, neither one of us can afford a loser at this stage.
Ride your usual race, Johnny. Make it easy on the rest of us. Don't kid yourself. You're going to need a lot of dirt in the next 2 minutes. Stay out of my way, Johnny, or it's liable to end up like the last time.
The horses are entering the starting gate. They're behaving very well. Watch it. Watch it. And there they go. It's Patos by a head at the start. Typewriter by a nose. Doll Baby by a half. Jamie Girl, Pajama, and Sea Queen.
Now, Johnny, cut him out.
Jamie Girl is pulled up and taken to the outside. Now she's falling back. It's Doll Baby by a half. Patos by a half. Typewriter by a length. Pajama, Sea Queen, and Jamie Girl.
Johnny, how long are you going to keep this up? You haven't said a word to me since the race.
Well, what do you want me to say? I lost. The nag didn't have it, that's all.
I saw what happened. I heard what they were saying in the stands.
What do you mean?
They said you quit cold. You lost your nerve.
That's a lie. I never had a chance to get through.
I wish I could believe that, Johnny.
Hi, Sam. Hi. Just coffee, please. Look, Sam, there's over 100 owners at this meeting. You ought to be able to spot me with somebody.
Listen, Johnny, I'm only an agent, not a magician. Right now, I couldn't get you a job as an exercise boy.
It's as bad as all that, huh?
It don't take long. Once they think you're on the skids. If I were you, I'd pull out before you wind up like Louis Ingram. Playing wet nurse to a lot of fresh kids that wouldn't be allowed in the track in his day.
Yeah, but you don't understand. It's not just for me, Sam. It's Connie. She still thinks I'm a big shot.
She'll get over it. They all do. Coffee's on me.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Anytime.
Whitey, could I talk to you a minute?
Well?
I know what everybody's saying, but they're wrong, Whitey. I was just rusty. I wasn't yellow. Please, you gotta give me another chance.
The last chance I gave you cost me a $10,000 purse.
I'll make it up to you. I swear I will.
Sure, you'll make it up to me. Just have your agent get you a job with somebody else.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi. The usual, honey.
I thought you were never going to show up.
You ought to know me better than that. Oh, this is like old times.
Oh, please, Eddie.
Okay. We got lots of time. How'd you duck Johnny?
He's still at the track making the rounds.
Well, it's a waste of time. After last week, nobody out there would touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Not even if you asked him?
Me? What an imagination you've got.
Is it asking so much, Eddie? He went to bat for you 100 times when you needed him.
Yeah.
Only while he was at it, he just happened to run off with my dame.
But that's all I ever was to you, Eddie. Just another day.
Maybe I didn't know how I felt then. But I do now.
Then you'll help him? For my sake?
Okay, baby. Just for you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know the horse. Well, do you figure he can go 1.25 miles? Oh, I see. 5:30? Yes, sir. I'll be there. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Honey, we're back in business. Ray Longo wants me to ride Mystic Star in a handicap.
Oh, that's wonderful, Johnny. I knew something would turn up.
I can't figure that out, though. 2 days ago, when I asked him for a job, he pretty near threw me out of the stable.
Listen to me. Just get him off fast like I told you.
He'll never last. It's 1.25 miles.
The way I figure, you don't have to go that far.
What do you mean?
There'll be 200 grand in sucker money on Limehouse. The syndicate isn't about to drop that kind of dough. Not when we can find insurance.
Oh, on a hungry jockey, huh?
I'll give it to you straight. Mystic Star is fast enough to break on top and stay there till Limehouse makes his move. Only he won't go anywhere. Because you're going to box him in while Eddie Barrows sneaks through on cash register.
Oh, I get it. It's a boat race, huh? And I'm supposed to be the patsy.
That's the beauty of the setup. With the reputation you've got, nobody will suspect a thing. And you get 5 grand for less than 2 minutes' work.
Look, if the syndicate wants Limehouse beat, let me do it on the level with Mystic Star all the way.
Grow up, Johnny. If the nag had a chance, you think I'd have hired a broken-down has-been like you to ride him?
Thanks. Thanks a lot. And all the time I thought you were
Don't
trying...
take it so hard, Johnny. If everything goes all right tomorrow, you'll be on the payroll.
Sure, in the next boat race.
Well, that's better than sweeping out stables. We might let you win once in a while, just to keep your wife happy.
Johnny, where you been? I've been telephoning all over for you.
That's a new switch. You checking on me.
You better get some sleep. You'll never be in condition to ride tomorrow.
What difference does it make? As long as your little friend Eddie is the first across the wire.
Then it's true. It is going to be a boat race.
I figured somebody would fill you in on the details.
Louis overheard you talking with Longo about it this morning. He couldn't believe it. Not after all these years and your reputation.
Yeah, what have I got to show for it? Crummy apartment and a whole drawer full of pawn tickets.
And what about your self-respect? Doesn't that mean anything to you, Johnny?
Oh, you're a fine one to talk. I suppose you were thinking about my self-respect when you went to Eddie, huh? You can cut out your act. Longo told me how I got the job.
All right, so I went to him. Well, maybe it was wrong, Johnny, but I did it for you. I didn't know it was going to be a boat race.
You mean you didn't care? All you wanted was the big dough, and you didn't care how you got it.
Stop it, Johnny. You don't know what you're saying.
Look at me. I wouldn't rate a dame like you in 100 years. Not unless I was a top jockey riding high and could give you everything you wanted.
That's why I stuck with you when the riding got rough, when the restaurant failed. All I care about you, Johnny. For money I wanted, I'd have gone to Eddie a long time ago.
Why don't you go to him now? It's not too late.
Because I love you, Johnny. You're not like Eddie. You never were. Riding's more than just a fat purse to you, Johnny. It's your whole life. It's what makes you important. Not just to me, but to yourself. That's why you've got to go out there tomorrow and do the right thing.
I can't get out now. I'm in too deep.
If you really love me, Johnny, you'll find a way.
Remember, Limehouse will make his move in the far turn. You know what to do.
Yeah, I know.
Johnny, keep your ears tucked in. I'll be coming up on the inside.
Keep away from me, Eddie, or I'll plant you so far in the dirt they'll have to dig you up.
backstretch, it's Cash Register on the rail and Mystic Star by half a length. Limehouse by a length, Roundies and Zemling. Now it's Cash Register and Mystic Star, Limehouse by a half. Around the last turn, it's Mystic Star on the rail and Cash Register.
Come on, Johnny, you can do it.
Cash Register on the rail is dropping back. Now he's coming on again. He's going to the outside of Mystic Star. Uh-oh, there appears to be trouble between Johnny Hatton on Mystic Star and Eddie Barrows on Cash Register. Eddie Barrows is down.
That's the whole story, Mr. Matthews. I tried to warn him before the race, but he wouldn't listen.
And you're positive you didn't start swinging until after he hit you?
I swear it. You gotta believe that.
I have to do more than that, Johnny. I have to prove it to a jury. Johnny's story was confirmed by the valet, Louis Ingram. But that in itself could not prove him innocent of the assault charge on which he was held. Further investigation convinced me that the only man who could clear him was his victim, Eddie Barrows. And there was only one way to make him talk.
According to Johnny, you started the fight. He only hit back in self-defense.
It's too bad the cameras didn't pick it up that way.
Yeah, you made sure of that by cutting him in the leg so it couldn't be spotted. I don't get it. You had a great future in racing until you let a stupid grudge get the best of you.
You're breaking my heart.
You should have known Johnny wouldn't go for a boat race.
I don't have to listen to this.
But the authorities will. When they find out that you're mixed up in this with Ray Longo, they'll suspend you so fast it'll make your head swim.
You're bluffing. You don't have any proof.
I've got a witness, Louis Ingram, who'll back up everything I've said. Now wake up, Eddie. In any showdown, you'll be the one who'll suffer.
How do I know I can trust you? All you're interested in is saving Johnny's neck.
Yours, too. If you'll tell me everything you know.
So we can make a deal?
The only deal you can make is with yourself. What happens after that is up to the stewards. But I'll promise you this much. You play it straight and I'll go to bat for you right down to the wire.
Eddie Barrows made that deal with himself. His testimony resulted in the exposure of the syndicate and a prison sentence for Ray Longo. The assault charges against Johnny were dismissed. Today, both he and Eddie are once again making racing headlines. The case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender.